Excuse me. Can I quit this podcast?
I told Eddie Murphy to stay in college so he'd have something to fall back on.
I get great advice.
What a show.
Thank God for that introduction. That way I know I'm in the right
That's
room.
our introduction
I'm in the
every
right
time for our show.
Murphy has a documentary coming out on cable, and I wonder if he's going to mention how indebted he is to you.
I told him to stay in school, and he rejected that.
Well, I'm sure he's not the first person that ever rejected any advice from you.
Can we get on with the show?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I remember you told me, ditch those jokes. You'll never get anywhere.
Yes, I said stick to music. Didn't I say that?
Yep.
Anyway, this is Stand Up Memories. I'm Peter Bales, Jackie the Joke Man Martling.
Hello.
And great guest. Now, let's get this introduction, and then they're going to pop up our guest, and you'll see him. This guy, I've been thinking about this introduction. He is a native Long Island in his heart. He's Mr. California now, but he's a native Long Islander, and he comes back. He's never really left, and he's going to be at Governor's on November 29th, and he's going to be at McGuire's, which is out east in Bohemia, on November 28th.
I've actually known Bobby Collins longer than you.
I don't know if you have.
I met him at Richard M. Dixon's.
You met him at. Okay, now this is
I think
not
just
fair.
one night. He was just there one night.
We've got it. Let's get him introduced and on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. A terrific comedian, a classic. Somebody introduced me as a comedian with seasoning. Does that mean old?
At best.
I've got seasoning. Ladies and gentlemen, dramatically appearing on your screen is our guest for this episode of Stand Up. There he is, Bobby Collins.
Look how it just popped up like that's pretty cool.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Oh,
you.
come on, he's bigger than us. Look.
He's bigger than us.
Wow. Hi, Bob.
Hi,
Well,
guys. Oh, it's so good to see you, too.
Just
A lot of good memories.
Oh, compared to us. There we go. Wow.
I wanted to start out. I thought about the first memory I have of Bobby Collins, and it must have been 1981. And any bookers watching, you can't get Bobby Collins for $75 anymore to take the train out to CW Post College to perform in the student union, which I did. And
Wow.
we had a lot of fun. I think his price has gone up since those days. And
It's so weird. I never thought about it, but I got an email from a girl said, "Oh, I met you years ago when your band played at CW Post." And then I remembered we did comedy there, but I don't think I ever did it with you, but there were a lot of gigs there. Me and Gary Delabate did a huge stage show when we didn't have one there.
now, Bobby, I don't
Yes.
know. You did CW Post, and it was fun. It was the student union. And I was thinking about how times change. They had a bar in the student union.
It's college.
They wouldn't have that today in a million years.
Is that right?
I know.
The drinking age was 18, and a student union with mixed drinks even.
I'm sure the comedians on stage were almost like besides the point.
Yeah. Who cared about? Anyway, Bobby,
you got a better memory than me. I didn't remember that, but since I've done hundreds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Theaters.
And what tends to stay in your mind are the nights when things go wrong. When comedians go to the diner,
Right.
we talk about the nightmares because 99.9% of the time it's great. It's great. But when the power went out, I don't know if that ever happened to you, or a fight breaks out. Did you ever play the worst gig ever, anywhere? A place called Betty's Fireside. Have you heard it?
Never heard of it. Where is it?
Thank God, you're the first guy. I thought I was the only person ever that never worked that crap hole.
Because it's famous. It was a converted strip club. And with the worst New Jersey audiences. Well, you're lucky. You avoided it. You would
Right.
zoomed past Betty's Fire.
I never heard of it.
Anyway,
Betty's.
It's like a week of comedy, does it? Betty's Fireside, you know.
So, was I right when I said native Long Islander, Long Island in your blood? Was I right when I said?
Well, I was born and raised in Queens, New York, but
Okay.
then we moved out to New Hyde Park.
All right.
And every time we went to the beach, it was Jones Beach, West End 2. Park your car, walk 30 miles to the water. Even the seagulls packed the lunch in a thermos.
Absolutely.
And under the little bridge with the echo,
Yes.
echo. You remember that?
Yes.
Jones Beach.
Oh,
I
we went to
love
parking lot 4, and you always stop in the underpass to sing harmony till we realized that we couldn't sing, and then we keep walking.
So, Bobby, Queens
Yeah.
is on Long Island. Look at the map. It cracks me up when young people in Queens say, you know, this weekend we're going to the city. First of all, you're in the city. You're
Right.
5 boroughs.
Or they goof on Long Island, not realizing they're on Long Island.
They are.
Right. I hear you.
Yeah.
But the difference is New York City and New York people are talk fast, talk quick, lose their keys. I can't find my car. Give me a gun. Then you come out to Long Island and it's don't.
That's what it seems like till you go to Suffolk, and then it's
Right.
like, duh,
Hey, wait a second.
duh.
I live in Suffolk.
No, you live in Alabama.
Well, the world's changed, hasn't it?
So you moved out to New Hyde Park and you were moving on up to Nassau County.
Yeah. And then I moved out to California. I live in Santa Monica, California, also New York and Florida.
Really?
Not bad. Not
Okay.
bad.
So
Wow.
New York, Florida, and Santa Monica.
You know, Bobby, I remember in the beginning, like it must have been 1980 or 81. I just started living with Nancy on Perry Avenue in Bayville, and we were renting this dump, but it was a Long Island home. You know, it was like a $200,000 house that we were renting like for peanuts. But we
Right.
had parties on the beach. And I remember having a 4th of July party. I remember you were there and you said to me, you know, we're all going to break our balls our whole lives to live in a house that's near the water like this. You got it made. And I'm like, well, not really. And then after 20 short years of killing myself, I did wind up on the beach. But my God, it was true. Like I had the positioning right. Now I just had to work my way to where I deserved to be there, you know.
Right. Right.
was
You kept your eye on the donut.
Yeah. Jesus.
So, Bobby, what do you like best about Florida? Because Florida is beckoning to all New Yorkers.
I know, because that's where they go. The average age is dead.
Yes.
The people down there are, they waddle. I learned a few things down there. Pickleball. I thought it was a groin ailment. Some guy came over and he goes, Bob, do you play pickleball? I go, no, I'm good. And then another guy came over and he goes, do you play pickleball? I go, no, I like women. You know, so
when that first started, I went down to visit an old friend in Naples, and I guess they had just started that, and he took me to play, and I thought, this is so great. And it didn't even dawn on me. And then all of a sudden, the first thing you hear is how many people are getting hurt. Because we think they're 30 and they're 70.
Right,
and they're breaking their ankles and breaking their arms, and now they're getting hit in the face. You know, it's downright dangerous.
The fastest growing sport in America is pickleball. Do you know the second?
It's true. It's true.
Second fastest is disc golf.
Oh God!
You try and golf and you throw out your disc.
And you don't call it. No, you play. It's like golf, but you're not supposed to say frisbee. You're supposed to call it a disc. And you're
no, wait. Why can't you say frisbee?
Because it's frisbee's not cool enough for disc golf.
Right.
But pickleball is number one. And
that was an old joke. A guy used to say, "Are you Catholic? You Protestant?" And he'd say, "I'm a Frisbitarian."
Right.
I believe that when I die, that somebody throws me up on a roof and nobody can retrieve me. I haven't thought of that.
No, but Florida, I do it because I do a lot of theaters down there, and I do them probably in March and April, and I do about 32 theaters. So it's good to have a place down there. I don't want to stay in hotels.
Oh, I understand.
That's what,
Completely.
I was just down in Clearwater and they said the year has really been off. I didn't realize how much of the tourist industry is from Canada. I just assumed it was all people from Long Island,
No, Midwest is huge and Canada's big.
And they're just, and it doesn't take a lot to throw everything off because, they count on a couple of months being incredible, like getting fat and then hibernating, Jesus. But
they love coming down for the sun,
It's still a rush, even being 1,000 years old, getting off the plane and seeing palm trees. It's some kind of a silly little rush, it just really is,
It is, but same thing in California. I love it because but it's the most white privileged entitled Tesla people you've ever seen.
I absolutely believe that and know that.
And everything there is what the government and everyone's going nuts about and people are upset about. It's about money. People in California, all about money. And I've been lucky because I bought a house maybe 30 years ago, not far from the ocean in Santa Monica, which is the area they love down there.
That's great. Right.
I was lucky.
Very smart investment,
So you are bi-coastal.
Yeah.
Tri-coastal.
Tri-coastal, 3 places.
Right. I'm in New York right now.
Wow. I love it.
I did 2 shows last night, and now it's just good to be home with my wife, and my daughter flew in with my grandchild. I'm a grandfather now. It's wonderful.
Oh, really? So you got a house filled with family?
Yes, it's wonderful. 12th and Broadway.
So I thought of a question for Bobby. All right. And it's great that you have a house filled with family. And say it's Thanksgiving.
Right.
And a relative that you see on Thanksgiving, but not that often otherwise, they always ask you after a couple glasses of wine, so Bobby, come on. Why'd you go into comedy? Every comedian gets asked that. Every comedian gets asked that, and we all
or are you still doing that?
Right.
Or the worst,
which is almost like, did you get a job yet?
Right. Right. They didn't know that this was what we had in our hearts. This is what we were meant to do. And
I remember if I was doing comedy a couple of years, and my girlfriend and I went over to my uncle's, an old grumpy guy. And somebody said, "Oh, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, next week, Nancy and I are going on vacation." And I swear to God, it wasn't a stage whisper. It was a stage grumble. It was like, "Your whole fucking life is a vacation." And then I thought about it and said, he's right.
He's right.
Every comedian has their answer. Because you get asked that all the time, not from people in the business, but when people who aren't in the business. So why'd you go into stand-up comedy? And I bet you have I have my answer.
You just say I'm going to keep doing it till I do better.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know.
I have an answer. When I was in 11th grade, my high school did Brigadoon, and if you know about that show, there's a lot of singing and dancing, and which I can't do, but there is the best friend who has the comedy lines. And I was the best friend, and I was the hero of the high school for like a week. And I got the laughs in this big auditorium, and I love the feeling. And I want that feeling every night for the rest of my life. And that was 11th grade.
That's it.
I
remember when I was very young, a small kid, and remember the Ed Sullivan Show?
Oh, yeah.
Robert Klein would come on and perform, and I'd see my mom and dad. I'd turn around and look at them, and they were laughing. And then they saw the Red Skelton Show. Remember the Red Skelton Show?
I just got interviewed the other night, and they were with Frank Santopadre that used to be with Gilbert.
Right.
And like we were on me and Billy West from the old Stern show. And they said, what are you thankful for? And I said, one of the things I'm thankful for is the Red Skelton show. Because I used to sit and watch him. And my mother used to sit there and watch me watch him.
Right.
And he was having such a good time and laughing and breaking balls with the other. And I was like, I think in my mind, I was like, wow, if it's that much fun. Meanwhile, you didn't know that in the wings, he was scared to death and thrown up, and they had to push him on stage. And then he turned into this guy that couldn't have been more comfortable.
Wow.
You know, show business is just wacky.
I would turn around, and I know how hard my parents worked. So when I saw them laughing, whether it be Robert Klein or watching things from the Red Skelton show, and I'd look up and I go, I could do this. And I said, I'm going to pursue it. And I did.
Right.
Good
And
for
you want to make your parents laugh, which is
Right.
You know, my mother and my father and mother were both very funny, but I don't think in my entire life I got an audible chuckle out of them. You know, I'm sure they were entertained or mesmerized or pissed off or whatever.
Right.
My mother, you know, she would tell me dirty jokes and stuff, and you know, it's just however it seeps into your body, it just does, and there's no getting it out. You know,
It was meant to be.
comedy's like herpes. You know, once it's in there.
Once you had it, you've known.
Sharing that.
What?
No, for
I
opening up.
didn't give you herpes by mentioning it.
No, not by
You
mentioning.
think I have?
Well, Bobby,
I do.
Bobby's mentioned Robert Klein. Robert Klein, honestly, was my idol before I started comedy. And I met him for the first time. I was booked to open for him at a club you used to work at a lot, Rascals in West Orange, New Jersey.
Sure.
And we're in that green room. And my idol walks in and he sits down. It was a small green room. And I was too afraid to say anything. He didn't say anything to me. And I had a big bucket of popcorn and I'm just eating it. And the first words Robert Klein said to me, my idol, he looks at me and goes, how much fucking popcorn are you going to eat? That was, and I was so nervous. I ate the whole bucket. And how about you? What idol did you meet that you just couldn't believe you were meeting them?
Well, I met a lot of people, and I just felt warm anytime I was met another comedian. I mean, I've met them all from you name them, I've met them, and it's been nice. I just love it because we just jump right in and go at it.
Always a bond. Big, little, small, medium. There's always a bond between comics. If
Right.
10 people in a room, the two comics have, or three, there's a bond. I don't know what, maybe it's in my head, but it seems like that, you know.
Right. I remember when I met Jerry Lewis and we were at a big, a big function. And I followed him because it was set up for him. And then they had another two comics on. It was me and someone else. But he was just a complete gentleman. We took pictures together. He signed something. Yeah, it was just wonderful. It's nice when you meet. They're regular. Some people aren't. You know that. But he was down to earth.
Not. and it's very hard to tell who's who. Until you're there, until you meet them, you know.
It is. I could give you a list in my head if people ask me, or my friends that I'm close to, they say, what is this comic like? Or what is this comedian like? And if I know him, I say, oh, this guy's.
Sometimes you got to say, you know, you don't want to know. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. You know?
Right. You never put down another comic, but you know, when I first started, like we were talking about, when I first started, and I saw some comics that were just rude and mean, and I said, wow, we're comedians. We're supposed to make the world laugh. We're supposed to get along with each other. What a beautiful, and then I saw them fighting on each other, or, you know how it is. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, especially in the beginning. Well, what we call the beginning in the early 80s, I think it was worse because everybody was like clawing and scratching. And if I push you back a foot, that means I'm ahead a foot, you know?
Right.
If somebody in the early 80s, if somebody asked me if I would sacrifice my grandmother's life to get on earlier at the comic strip, my answer would have been, sure, she's had a good run. That's what I would have said. I'm telling you, you're right.
It's there's a viciousness, but but it's only your grandmother. It's not like your mother.
Yeah.
You'd kill your grandmother to get on the comics.
Well, I mean, I was funnier than those guys. I should have been on earlier.
Right,
That's all
right.
that mattered.
I
That's
remember working at Catch a Rising Star, and after the show, it was a good set, and then I was leaving, and some elderly man came over to me, and he said, "Hey, you were very good." I said, "Thank you." He takes his card out, and he goes, "Give this to your agent." And I said, "Oh, you mean my parents?" And he laughed. He handed me his card. I called up my agent at ICM. I said, "Hey, this guy gave me his card." And he said, "Bobby, do you know who that guy is?" I go, "No." He goes, "That's Cher and Frank Sinatra's manager." I opened and traveled with both.
Oh, I love it. I
Jesus.
love it.
Yeah, that was something.
Great fun.
There was a comedian, Fred Stoller, and he did a set at Catch
I
a
remember
Rising.
Fred.
Fred, yeah, he's a great guy. He's so funny.
Sweetheart.
And he did a set at Catch a Rising Star, and he was running out because he had another set, so he left right away.
Right.
And a woman comes out, and she's looking around, doesn't see Fred, and sees me, and goes, "You know that comedian Fred Stoller? You've got to give him this card. Got to give him this card." I go, "Sure." And she goes back into the room, and I look at the card, and it says something like Sylvia Plath's psychotherapist. It wasn't a manager. What?
Speaking of Fred, there's a documentary out now on Stellar and Mira. And I was working in Atlantic City, and this guy knocked on the door of my room, and he came in, and I didn't know him. And he said, "I'm Fred Stoller, and I always wanted to meet you." And this is very early on. And
Right.
my girlfriend, and his girlfriend was Amy Stiller.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if that was his girlfriend for the day or for a year or but what a sweetheart of a guy he was.
Yeah.
He was, so
Is
funny.
he still around, Fred?
I'm sure he is.
Yes,
I
yes, I believe he absolutely is.
I hate to say it, but at this point, the circle is still at the point where if somebody passes away, you hear about it.
Right, right.
So I don't think he passed away. I'm sure everybody's still working, just because you haven't, I'm working at Mr. Rips and they're working at Mr. Rips in California. So it's not like seeing each other's names in the paper.
I know. And
But
we
he
see
was-
the world changing, and we talk about that on the stage, and people want to hear it. It's wonderful.
Wow.
So
I tell the same stupid jokes, even if Khrushchev was the president, so.
Yeah, but now we're sharing the planet with a lot of different types of people. We got to start thinning out the herd. The
Yeah, I
gene
know.
pool
I've
could
been
use
trying to
some
ditch
chlorine.
Bales. I've been trying to get rid of Bales, but he just follows me.
I know.
Nah, he's been a class guy.
I'm a classy guy. Thank you.
But
Thank
you
you.
got to remember, when you're dead, you don't know you're dead. Other people feel the pain. Same thing when you're stupid.
Yeah.
He was looking right at me when he said that.
No, I did not.
Lucky for me, I can't see that far. I barely see the screen.
One of the things,
Jackie, I'm over here.
Yeah.
one of the things I say to young comedians is to be a successful stand-up comedian, you have to be intelligent, because how can you write good material if you don't have basic intelligence? Not even basic, high IQ. You can't have a stupid comedian. You can have a smart comedian who plays stupid on stage at the
Right.
height of their intelligence.
Right.
Imagine how brilliant Lou Costello was, for example. People like
True.
that.
Bud Abbott stuff. What drives me crazy is we all came up, in the New York school system, and we learned grammar and spelling. That was just something you did. Even the stupid people learned that. Now I know it's been decades, but I would get emails from like CEOs of corporations or people very high up or very wealthy, and their emails were like written by a third grader with, no capitalization, no punctuation. And to me, that reeks of somebody being stupid, but it's got nothing to do with them being stupid. They just they don't care about that, and that
now
bothers me.
Now you can do what I do, and you can get AI to write your emails.
How do I get AI to come in and do this stupid show with you?
This thing is destroying everything. Our country now, AI. Oh, technology. Look what's happening.
And it gets you every time. I was looking at something the other day, and they said, take this train ride through Europe. And they show this train, and there's a bathtub in the room, and there's these beautiful waitresses and all this food. And then you're looking tiny letters, AI generated. You motherfucker, you know.
Right.
You can't trust anything. You know.
Unbelievable.
And that's
Unbelievable.
where we're broadcasting from.
We are broadcasting from, Bobby, you'll be interested, from Paradise Studios in a wonderful town on Long Island, Massapequa, Long Island, Paradise Studios. And we are going live on a network called Strong Island Television.
And a shout out to our guru, Bobby, who runs the whole
Yes,
joint.
Bobby runs the whole joint. And if you have any podcasting video needs, this is the place
He makes
to come.
T-shirts, he makes mugs, he does the editing, he does the filming, he walks
Nice.
around with a broom up his ass, he does everything in this place. You gotta love him.
This is the subtle plug section of our
I
stand-up.
understand.
Bobby.
I understand.
But Bobby, you know, you have a following all over the country. And you're coming back to, you always come back to Long Island. I mean, I
Every year, the right there at Thanksgiving,
all
day
right.
after Thanksgiving.
Oh, well, that's great. And now there's a club called McGuire's.
Yes.
That is the governor's folks own the three major clubs on Long Island, and McGuire's is out exit 57 off the Long Island Expressway. It's not that far. It's a nice
Bohemia, Long Island.
and it's power packed. It's got nice acoustics, and you get the big laughs. And
Right.
Bobby Collins is going to be there. Watch me look at my hand where I. Yeah, he's going to be there. On
You have a cheat sheet.
No, I do. It's on my hand, but it says I wrote a B and then I wrote 28. And November 28th in Bohemia. But of course, the B could stand for Belmore, which is also a club that is
Right.
open.
Or it
Right.
could stand for Bob Gollop.
It could.
It better not.
Now, and also the flagship club of Governors is in Levittown, and
Right.
Bobby will be there. That's okay. So Friday at McGuire's and Saturday at the Governor's flagship in
Right.
Levittown. And I cannot tell you, Bobby, if I was, you know what people say about you, about your act, which you do naturally, and I don't think you can teach it, is
Right.
you are instantly likable. And I don't.
No.
I would bet you you couldn't explain how you do it. I don't think you can explain it. It's not something you can teach, but you come out and you talk about everything. You don't have any
But
limitations.
it's a warmth, which
Yeah,
you're
no.
right. You can't
But
teach
you
it, I
do
don't
that.
think.
And how do you can't really teach it. It just comes
You
naturally.
can't. And when comics come over to me and they're opening for me somewhere in, Alabama or wherever,
Yeah.
and they come over to me and they say to me, "Hey, can I ask you something?" I go, "Sure." And they go, "What more? You saw me perform. What more can I do?" And I go, "You're going strictly, you're not letting you into what you're saying. Put you, yourself, how you feel about yourself and what you're talking to. If it's your wife, if it's your girlfriend, let me feel that you love her. Let me feel that you don't love her. But let me feel." And a lot of guys always ask me,
Try and make it look like you're enjoying yourself up there.
right,
Not
just
worrying about the next thing's going to happen, because if you're relaxed on stage, that just throws the blanket on the whole place, makes the
Right,
whole place
right.
relax, you know.
True. But I don't try to make them like me. I just want them to come along with me. And it makes me feel good when they respond. And a lot of comics ask me, and I get this a lot. They go, "Bobby, how do you know you got the right woman when you meet the right woman?" I go, "You will know." Because a lot of them don't know. They date, they're confused in that area.
And
I
they're-
go like this.
and they're
When you
questioning
meet her,
themselves.
you'll know.
Right. What was it? The Godfather.
What?
Not the bullet. What was it? The Thunderbolt.
Right.
No, the Thunderbolt hit you. Hey, while we're plugging, I'm at Uncle Vinny's this Friday, Uncle Vinny's Comedy Club in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. I just remembered this part of the show goes out live right now.
Yeah, we're live on
We're
Strong
live.
Island Television.
Point Pleasant, New Jersey,
When are you there?
this Friday.
I'm there.
The next night.
I'm there Saturday.
Yeah. Usually these are taped in advance, but now that we've moved here to Strong Island, we do 2 shows, and the first show goes out live. So
Yeah, we Strong Island is live, and then Wednesday we come out on Spotify and Apple Music and everything. That's how it works. So this is a valid plug for this Saturday.
Right.
Pennies.
so we're back to back.
Right.
I wish
And
I could
again,
come
coming back to Long Island or New Jersey, you feel like it's home, so you can just go off and have fun. You
And the
know,
audiences are so good.
they're wonderful.
The
They're
Three
wonderful.
Gardens clubs and the Uncle Vinny's clubs. They're just,
They're excited to see you back, and they want to hear, what do you have to say? Hey, in Jersey, we got a new governor. Her name is Mikey. Okay, let's talk. Is it a transgender thing? And she has two girls, and their name is Frankie and Artie. You have fun with it.
Yeah, and I guess the number one thing is have fun. Don't forget to comedy is supposed to be fun.
especially now.
Right.
Especially now.
And
We're getting high time.
I talk about things that are affecting all of us, whether it be a government. When I start on it, I go, remember when the government shut down? I'm from New York. We never knew it was open. And then go into it.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
There's my lead into things,
But your agenda is laughs.
Right.
I mean, that's your main agenda. And one of the things that you do again naturally, that I think you can teach, but it takes practice, is you get one laugh and there's another laugh coming quick. There's not going to be a long discourse in between the laughs,
Right.
And that's just something that you seem to do naturally, and then you believe in that. You're not going to go off on for a
No.
90 seconds.
That's why honestly, when I watch Peter and I watch other comics or new comics coming up, you could almost take a nap until they hit to the next. It's like,
And sometimes they invest so much time and it doesn't wind up going anywhere, which
Right.
makes it all the longer to the next one,
Right. Jump topics. Do this if you
I
can't
like
stand.
people come up and say, I went to see a comic last week or last night and they weren't that funny. How come? Why are they asking you? Why are they asking me? You're
Right.
the one that went to pay and see them, probably because they had 8 funny seconds on TikTok or something
Right.
like that,
Maybe they were actually talking about you, but they didn't want to come out and say it.
Wow. That's the way you're going to leave off?
I'm not going to leave off.
Oh my
No,
God.
come on.
Why don't you plug all the gigs you've got this week?
Okay. All right. I'm going to be in Hicksville at Pizza Hut. And on my break, I'm going to tell a couple jokes.
Buying or selling?
Hey, I walked
You
into
gotta go.
Dunkin' Donut recently in California. I got a black coffee, and I'm walking out, and it was warm. And I looked at I hollered out, more ice. Next, 3 people ran out of the kitchen.
There you go.
There you go. All right, leave
That's
them with a
Bobby
laugh. We got to
Collins.
go.
Bobby
See?
Collins, you are terrific.
Thanks.
And
We'll do this again soon. Yes.
I appreciate it. Yes,
coming
and thank you
governors.
guys. This has been so much fun, and it's such a pleasure to work with you guys.
Ditto.
It's
Ditto.
like 1981 again, and let's just keep going. What do you say?
Where's Bob Woods?
Oh.
God bless them, right?
You know that. We all have stories.
We do. And we'll do them
Guys,
again. Thanks,
thank
Bobby. You're the best.
See you later.
See you later, everybody. This has been
You-
Stand Up Memories.
With
That was Bobby Collins with Jackie the Joke Man Martley
and Peter Bales.
and Peter Bales.
Professor of comedy, Peter Bales.
Professor of comedy. And he, you can teach comedy, but some people kind of have it naturally. And Bobby's one of those.
He's got it.
He's got it. I got it. You got it.
We're looking for it.
And we'll see you next time on Stand Up Memories.
Watch all the shows.